Welcome everyone to the May 24th, 2022 Planning Commission meeting for the City of Malden. I'd like to go ahead and call this meeting to order. Mr. Deerhog, will you please call the roll?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Eskridge, you'll say present in your mic. Thank you. Commissioner Woolard. Present. Commissioner Green. Present. And our Chairman, Commissioner Paulson. Present. And I'll just note that Mr. Sofield and Mr. Paglialunga have not been able to make the meeting tonight.
Thank you. I won't do the Pledge of Allegiance tonight since it's just us. Tonight's meeting is being held to consider the following agenda items, and that is review and approval of the minutes from the April Planning Commission meeting and a preliminary plat review for Riley Trace subdivision off Fowler Circle. Again, since there are no members of the public here, I don't have to go through the rules about talking and giving comment. So I'll jump right down to review of minutes. Well, we're going to review and approve the minutes from the April Planning Commission meeting. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
Mr. Chairman, I have one slight change. My last name is misspelled.
Did I really?
On page 2 of page 5.
It is. Yep.
Thank you.
Got it.
Any more discussion before I take a motion? Do I hear a motion? I'm ready for a motion, yes. Thank you. I have a motion from Commissioner Eskridge to approve the minutes. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second from Commissioner Green. Any more last minute discussion? Hearing none, I'll go ahead and call for a vote. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand and saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. That is unanimous. The minutes are approved. The agenda item tonight is a preliminary plat review for Riley Trace subdivision. We're going to begin with introduction from staff. We're going to make sure no members of the commission have any conflicts of interest or ex parte communication regarding this item. And we'll have discussion with the applicant if necessary. Normally there is a public review or public comment portion, but no members of the public are present. So we'll skip down to the staff introduction. Will you please introduce this item, Mr. Deerhog?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is an application for a preliminary plat for a subdivision to be known as Riley Trace. It's located on Fowler Circle next to 220 Fowler Circle. This tract was annexed into the city of Malden earlier this year. As it was going through the annexation process, it actually was initially proposed for a townhome development project consisting of nearly 60 units, but they revised their petition and revised the zoning they're requesting and requested a R15 low density residential zoning and are now planning to do a development consisting of 29 detached single family homes on this 10-acre tract of land. That's a density of 2.9 units per acre. The project itself will consist of an age-restricted community with all brick construction, and it will be built by a builder called New Style Communities. They specialize in providing age-targeted communities like this one. Will also be a maintenance-free community, and the maintenance of the homes in the community will be paid for through the HOA. The homes in this project are projected to start at $450,000 and up, and show on the screen here layout for the project. They'll have a single access off of Fowler Circle. And then you can see there how the 29 lots will be laid out. This will be accessed via sewer through a pump station that will be located on an adjacent property. That we'll look at the development of that tract in the future. But the sewer will be operated, or I should say owned by the city of Malden. And that's the introduction for this item.
Thank you. Let me take a moment to ask the commission. Do any of the commissioners have any conflict of interest or ex parte communication to disclose regarding this item? Is a representative for the applicant here? You may be asked a few questions. Normally we have a public comment section.
Sure. Jay Martin, Arbor Land Design, 49 Greenland Drive in Greenville. And so if you have any questions or comments, then I can address.
I'm not sure if I should even open the floor since no one's here.
Yeah, might as well go ahead, open it. I don't know if we'll have anyone raise their hand online, but
it's 55 and up, yes. That's exactly right. So basically what it does is it age restricts, and I believe that kind of the way that worked, if I was 55 and my wife was 53, then we could still live there. We would at that point still have kids, but none of our kids would be in the house. And so in that age restriction, if there were kids that were still in the house, they could be there. It's just hard to restrict that. A lot of times in other municipalities, this is a whole, I don't want to say a zoning, but an overlay that applies to it, which is beneficial. What ends up happening is they say in those situations, nobody, under 55. That's it, period, the end. And by doing that, they usually get, the ability not to be taxed towards schools and those sorts of things are give and takes. Pulte does this in their Dellwood communities around the country, that kind of thing. But this one just basically age restricted. It's more age targeted would probably be the more appropriate term.
I really appreciate the discussion. Let me just quickly open the floor to any public comment regarding this item on the off chance someone online may want to make a comment.
Mr. Chairman, we do have one individual raising their hand, so go ahead and let them talk. This is Kathy Lindberg.
Thank you.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Lindberg.
Hi, will this community be gated?
Right now, we'll just take your question and comment, and then after the public comment section is closed, we'll address your question, okay?
All right.
Do you have any other comment or questions?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't see any others.
Thank you. Hearing no more comments, the floor is now closed for that. At this point, the applicant can provide an answer to the question or any additional comments you'd like to.
Two comments I would like to make. In response to the comment and the question just now, it will not be a gated community. Part of the reason is once you have gated communities, you have to have a full turnaround right at the entrance in case somebody pulls in and they're not supposed to be there. You see that down when we did Bridges Crossing, things like that, where they have it and you have to have a big turnaround in a keypad. So this is not intended to be gated. A second one, Greg Carter is not here this evening, but he is the adjacent neighbor. We have worked with him a lot to make sure that as this comes online, that we will meet some of his concerns. And from the start, one of his major concerns was that the lift station would be on this property. There's an adjacent parcel up across the stream, and then another parcel that's a little bit downstream. And so that's where it will be located, and it works. It's right where David is indicating. It works better for everything else. The water, the sewer flows downhill. It can provide sewer eventually if he decides to develop his property, and therefore it serves regionally rather than just one piece of property, and that he won't be looking at it. The other concern was that we would provide a buffer. There's already some trees out there. So there's an area where trees will not be removed, an area where they will be. We have done a tree protection plan and a landscape plan, but we've also done, and there shows what's been left. There's a plan that we shared with him it doesn't meet the landscape requirements of the city of Malden, but one where we're showing plantings that we're going to add to buffer him along that. And so you won't see them on that plan, but I brought a copy of it because it was a discussion between us and Greg. And David, I can hand you a copy of that because we want to be held to that. We want to be held to that. And while this meets the Malden requirements, this goes. And as such, we were more than happy to add that as a condition of an approval as well, to make sure that we are held to account, make sure we meet the needs of Mr. Carter.
Thank you. Do any members of the commission have any questions for the applicant?
A lot of the 55 and older communities are typically called active adult because they have a variety of amenity offerings. Are there going to be any amenities in this one?
No, not in this one. What's going to end up happening, the same builder is working with developers for the one that's across the creek and the one that will be adjacent to that. And so in the middle of them,
okay,
where the brown and the yellow come together, it was almost where your pointer was there, David. There is going to be amenities there. And so we will work to make interconnections between these so that everybody has access to those those opportunities. There is open space that's provided on this property as well, but typically in something that has 29 lots, you don't have a lot of built material.
I was getting at the phasing of other
yes.
pieces. So I guess you'd have a bridge from that western stub across to those
yes,
properties?
We would work out how that would happen. We don't have any floodplain there, so I believe we can bridge and make that connection.
Footbridge, is that what you mean?
Footbridge, yes. Yep.
Given the small size of the development, this probably isn't an issue, but any thoughts to traffic?
Well, what we've done is even though it is a Malden Road, we've met SCDOT standards. So there's nothing up at the front. So the sight distance, you have plenty of sight distance to see a car that it's approaching. We know everybody travels down the road a little bit faster than they're supposed to. But it is a low volume of traffic that will be coming out of this. It's far less than the original with 67 townhomes, dropping it at 29. And the other part to that is I live in a townhome community, has some of the same kind of characteristic to it. A lot of our community, in this case, a lot of that community, they're not going to join in the fun of going to school at school time and that sort of thing. They'll just wait till 10 o'clock usually or something like that. Although I don't think 55 is that old because I'm getting really close to it.
Yeah. communities this size usually don't have a big impact, but Ashmore Bridge is getting
Ashmore Bridge is
bursting. Just thought I'd add that.
Yes.
Thank you, though.
And just to make sure I heard it right before, you said that it would be a pedestrian connection to the other parcels, not a vehicular. Okay, so
Pedestrian
you don't have to
connection.
worry about all the homes on the other side using your entrance.
That's correct. And there would be 2 points to that. One, it's easy to do a pedestrian connection. It's very difficult to do a vehicular connection. There is some grade change there too, but also, yeah, we would not want to introduce the traffic that would go out on Rose Circle eventually to come back on Fowler, because Fowler has enough traffic with people cutting out of Ashmore Bridge Road and coming around. So, which is where the majority of the traffic on the road comes from.
Nice drawing package.
Thanks.
Additional questions for the applicant from the commission? Hearing no more. Mr. Deerhog, will you please provide the recommendation to staff?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So we've reviewed this proposal for the various standards that the city has in its zoning ordinance and land development regulations, and it does meet or exceed all the minimum standards that are contained therein. And it is consistent with the comprehensive plan. So the recommendation of staff is that any approval of this preliminary plat include the following conditions. One, that the applicant will satisfy the applicable conditions provided by the Greenville County Subdivision Advisory Committee. And number two, that the full civil engineering and landscape plans will meet the standards in the codes and ordinances for the city of Malden. And then, as we heard tonight, you could consider adding the third condition, and that is that the project will provide an enhanced buffer as shown in the drawing that was circulated tonight.
And just so I'm clear, we're approving this. We're not recommending it for approval.
Correct.
Thank you. Any questions for staff from the commission? Do we hear a motion regarding this item? Thank you. I have a motion from Commissioner Estridge to approve the plat with the recommendations of staff. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
I have a second from Commissioner Green. Any last minute discussion? Hearing none, I'd like to call for a vote regarding this item. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand and saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. It appears to be unanimous. The motion is approved. Sure. That is all the agenda items scheduled for tonight. Any other business?
Just to wish Miss Woolard well on her family's future endeavors they're about to undertake. So I don't feel shy at all to say on behalf of all the planning commissioners and the city council that we really appreciated her outstanding service on the planning commission.
Yeah, you stole my line.
You'll say it much better.
No, I won't. You said it much better than I did. Thank you so much for all the service you've given to us. We'll be missing you. If you ever want to come back, please do.
I'll let you know. Thank you for the opportunity to serve.
Fantastic. Okay, then. We're all done. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I have a motion to adjourn. Do I hear a second? I have a second. All in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.